Guys, the people of Houston are under attack. And the problem? It's one of Houston's biggest names who's doing this. His name is Macaroni Tony.
If you've been to Galleria Mall, you may have seen a man walking around in a flamboyant suit. Well, on Saturday, an 18-year-old girl and her father ended up on video fighting the man after the girl says he tried to touch her bottom with a feather that he carries around.
I seen him get the feathers and try to smack my butt, and I moved. I was like, And when I turned back, he stuck his tongue out.
The teen says the man who tried swatting her bottom with a feather is someone often seen walking inside Galleria Mall wearing over-the-top suits, who's known as Macaroni Tony.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Macaroni Tony? B-Mac, you're laughing.
No.
This is a menace. This man works just down the street from us.
True, yeah.
And
we are in the Galleria area.
He is a Houston celebrity.
Now you say works. From what I gather from the news report, he's just walking around. He's loitering. He's a mall rat.
I don't know if he's just walking around, bro.
Okay, well, true. He's not just walking around, but he's not employed. How about that?
Poor Marine, twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5 says that dude is there very much every day. So this is a report from Fox 26, and those interviews come from the Isaiah Factor. I saw this story on Fox 26 this morning, and I was like, wait a second, what? So here's what happened. Apparently, things escalated from there. And why wouldn't they if you're with your 18-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old daughter, and all of a sudden, this weird guy is walking around.
In his 70s tries to touch her butt. Hell yeah.
With a feather.
I don't care if it's with a feather.
And
I don't know
by
if that makes it worse or not, but touch her butt with anything, I'm going to come
well,
at
see,
you.
there's probably some loophole in the law.
You think there's a feather loophole?
Well, here's the thing. So they proceeded to beat his ass, but guess who's actually under investigation here? It's not Macaroni Tony. It is actually the people who beat up Macaroni Tony. This package on Fox 26 continues.
My daddy pointed at his head. He's like, "Don't you touch my kid. Don't you touch my kid. Don't you touch my kids."
The 18-year-old says before customers started recording, the man grabbed her father.
I started seeing blood. As soon as I seen blood, I hurried up and ran up to the situation. I just started punching the man because he was choking my daddy from behind. So
Macaroni Tony denies touching the teen with the feather.
Two young ladies walk by, the big girl and the little girl walk by, and I see them wave. I just wave myself, and I'm waving myself, feathering myself. And they walk on by. They about 15 feet away. And then when they look back, I just wave the feather like this here. And that's it. That's it. The whole thing is out of proportion. Well, me touching somebody with that feather is a damn lie.
he did not touch me. He did not. He tried to.
I do think that the trying to touch is kind of weird.
He's got literally videos online of him touching women with feathers.
Exactly,
D-Mac. This is not something he does.
And I've never heard of this guy before, and I doubt that these people knew who he was, that they're following the exploits of Houston influencer Macaroni Tony.
Can you be an influencer at the age of 73?
I don't know. I mean, there are social media posts about him. I saw one of the ones that's in this little piece that Fox 26 put together. He's at, I think, Clay in the middle of the day, and he is feathering a lady's hindquarters.
Bottom, as the news report said.
Now, she's sitting down, and she seems to be okay with it. But I don't know. I mean, if I'm a dad and I see anyone coming near my kid.
13!
The feather was going towards the 18-year-old. That doesn't make it right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
It is the weirdest story I've ever heard of. So if you're ever in the Galleria, watch out for a flamboyantly dressed man with a feather named Macaroni Tony, because he might be coming for your ass. We got to talk about Macaroni Tony, a menace of the Houston Galleria. Some comments. Fishing with Dana, twitch.tv/ESPN 97.5. Is that Dana Holgerson? Says, want to increase your chances of being a victim of a crime? Go to the mall. But this isn't the Sharpstown Mall. This is the Galleria.
Yeah, it's not Guns Point. But still, we were having this conversation during the break. I can't think of the last time I've been to a mall or wanted to go to a mall. Like that was a big thing in the 90s for people our age. Like you wanted to go and hang out at the mall, but hasn't that era passed?
It's been a while since I've gone. I used to go there for Christmas shopping just to get everything
Sure.
done in one fell swoop. But now that I live so far away from everybody, and also since I have Amazon, you're right, B-Mac. There's not really much of a reason to go anymore.
'Cause that was the appeal, that you could get everything in one place without having to go to store to store to store. But now that the internet is shopping is where it's at, I mean, what's the need? What's the appeal?
It's probably still fun to go to if you're a teenager, I would think. But I don't know. Maybe things have changed to the point where it's not. I remember that was the fun thing to go do when you were growing up.
Like, at least when I was a teenager of that age, to go was because that's where, you could hang out with people, because back then there wasn't social media. There wasn't, the dating apps and all that stuff. I mean, still, again, like the reason you would go there as a teenager has now largely been replaced by the internet.
I have to ask you a question, too, to something you said a little bit earlier, because I think you're right on that front. I've heard of Sharpstown Mall, and again, I'm trying to learn as much about Houston's history as I possibly can. I'm definitely still in catch up. That's a Guns Point. That's not a. Is that a real name or is that an ironic name?
It's an ironic. Well, yeah, it's not a real name.
Okay.
It's for Greens Point Mall, but people will call it Guns Point because
oh my god,
your chances of getting mugged there seem fairly high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was about to say, like, it's somewhat believable that something in Texas could be called Guns Point.
That's there is a town in Texas called what Cut and Shoot. There's a few other.
Wow.
There's also Gun Barrel, Texas. That's a town in Texas.
See, that sounds real.
Yeah, that's
I believe
real.
that.
And there's also Cut and Shoot. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely reasonable that or a reasonable thought that there would be something here called Guns Point. But no, that's just a nickname for the crime rate at Greens Point Mall.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're talking about Macaroni Tony, the feathering menace of the Galleria, and I mean, this guy is going up to people with feathers, I guess, and he's trying to touch their bottom with the feathers, allegedly. I'm not a lawyer. Maybe this is something Rusty Harden might want to take up. But per Coog Blaze, who I guess has also seen him, he says he is a pimp.
Well, I guess he dresses like one, but
okay,
that feels like he might be just guessing. I don't know.
I think he identifies as a pimp because he dresses like a pimp.
Right, he dresses like one.
But yeah. I don't know that he actually is a pimp.
He dresses like a cartoon pimp. It's not even like, what you would see in like an actual like.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Huggy Bear in Starsky and Hutch.
100%.
A text from the 713. If Macaroni Tony was dressed in a clown suit, would this situation be different? Yeah, because clowns are creepy.
I think it'd be worse.
Yeah, it would be. I think
my reaction to this as my daughter's 2 years old.
But you are a father. As a father.
Yeah, no, I'm just
pull
saying
that card.
She's 2 years old, so I haven't been put in this situation yet. But to me, my reaction would be worse if a clown was doing it.
Okay, it would be worse.
Not that I wouldn't have reacted in a similar way to these people did, because if you try to touch my daughter's bottom, 13 and 18-year-old, because I mean. Talk to any woman they all have a story about getting hit on by men when they were underage. Every woman in the world has that story.
Okay.
So, this is not some innocent, I'm just waving at people with a feather.
No, he's a weasel. Yeah. He knows what he's getting away with.
What he's doing.
And in this video that was played on Fox 26, and shout out to them for getting the investigative journalism done on Houston Menace, Macaroni Tony, but he is going up to people, touching them, or trying to, with a feather, and they proceeded to beat his ass. There's video of him, his ass being beat.
It's the girl punching him too.
Right.
Like I mean, if she wants to punch him, certainly go ahead and punch him.
If it's unwanted, they have the right to beat his ass. But I guess they're under investigation, not Macaroni Tony, who, per B. Hannon on the Twitch, has 11,000 followers on Instagram. That makes me want to kill myself. I want to die. I just want to die. Like I post all these things to social media. I work my ass off. And here I am basically in the 2000s at everything except for on Twitter, despite all the hard work that I do. And I don't know, other people don't. And here is Macaroni Tony walking around the Galleria with a feather and touching ladies' asses. And he's got 11,000 followers.
Well, you found your shortcut, Paul.
All right.
I mean, we're done at noon today. Head out to the Galleria.
What do I use instead of a feather?
What do you use instead of a feather?
Do I use a back scratcher? I don't know. What am I supposed to do here? Like a giant foam noodle?
That could be interesting.
That would be a little bit disarming. I'm kidding, obviously. Macaroni Tony.
I don't know, man.
Watch
11,000 followers. Follow count is key, Paul. Go out there and do it.
I hate everything.
Hey, look, if you want to be successful, Paul, You'll make the sacrifice and go out to the mall today.
Someone from the text says on the text line says, my 15-year-old loves the Woodlands Mall. That mall doesn't count. The Woodlands is not a real place.
Yeah.
I love the Woodlands.
It's like a utopia.
But the Woodlands is like Disney World.
Yeah.
I
it's
imagine.
protected. It's in a bubble.
Does anyone wonder, like, say there's some person who, you know, and look, there's a lot of homeless people all over the country now. I feel bad for them, but a lot of them choose to be that way. Do you feel like the Woodlands, like, just, if there's somebody that they catch sleeping on a bench, they like just take them out and dump them in that lake?
There's a black van that pulls up and
Yeah.
they pull them in the van and
They just dump them in the Disney World looking lake that all the stuff's
they
around.
take them out to spring and throw them out the car.
The Woodlands is alarmingly clean. Like I'm just asking questions here, okay, guys?